Welcome guys. Welcome back to my channel once again. And today we'll talk about how to use API calls in order to access various models. Today we'll see how to utilize API access in order to fetch models from Hugging Face, right? So we'll see two three things today. We'll see exactly what Hugging Face is all about. We'll understand basically a different model as well. Uh, there are several models on how to watch them, how to view them, basically how to read them, write them. Specifically, we'll talk about the reading part today. And on the last video, we spoke upon LLM, and before that, generative AI. So, if you are in this video right now and you want to know more about exactly what's generative AI and the basics of LLM, which is absolutely needed in order to understand how to fetch models and everything, because that's like the basic. So, would request you all of you guys, if you have not, basically, if you're not aware about it, then just go through it, either through my videos or any other videos as well, whatever you feel. But I have kept it pretty crisp and short, and I've not been too technical about it. At the same time, I've tried to brush up the corners of technical sides as well. So yeah, give it a try. You'll find it interesting. Without wasting any further time, let's discuss upon today's agenda. So I'll take you through a couple of things, and I'll show you exactly how to leverage the API calls, and we'll do it using Python codes. We'll use something called Google Colab. So people who are already aware about it, that's great. If not, then I'll show it to you quickly. Before that, I'll just give you a brief introduction of first what API is all about. Let me show you API simple diagram, let's say, and we'll understand it in simple terms. Okay, what exactly it's all about. So I think this is good enough. So let's say, yeah, so this particular website is there. We'll just focus on this particular diagram. So API is full form is Application Programming Interface. And what happens in API is that you can utilize API in order to connect one software with another. Okay. In simple words, let's say even if you are browsing on internet and you are requesting for a particular site, right, or particular application in simple words, then what happens is that there is internet in between, and there is a API interface which comes in between the server where the information or the database is lying, right? So instead of directly allowing you to access the information from servers, because at times it can cause a lot of issues, it can cause data sort of I'll say data crash as well. And if people have the wrong intent, then they can utilize the code for the wrong reasons as well, and they can also fidget with it, and might be it will get corrupted as well, right? So the possibilities are limitless. So basically, this is how API works. So API acts as an interface before, as the request comes in, it goes to the API, which is like a safe spot, and the API then, in a safe manner, suggests the next steps or the request, whatever is asked from the user. It passes it on to the server, and if everything is correct and if it's from a legitimate sort of a user end, then the server responds back with a response, and that is again gone and sent to the API. The API is acts like a sort of wall between in between, and then the API's capability is that it will send the response back to the user. Now in day to day sort of I'll say in terms of examples, I can talk about basically the payment gateways, right? A lot of times you'll see that on multiple websites there are different options. Even Razorpay is there, UPI is there. You can directly utilize Google Pay and Paytm. So in that ways also, for example, you're on a website of Keto or Milap, example I'm just saying, and you want to do some donations out there. So probably over there also, when you fetch the sort of the various payment options, it also does that transaction and all that you with the help of API itself. Even when it comes to Ola, right? You're aware about Ola, right? So it's basically a particular app and a website where you can just directly book car rentals or moving on from one spot to another. So in even Ola earlier, they used to use Google Maps, right, for the traceability and for the navigation part. But recently they came up with Ola Maps itself. But previously, you understand, right? If Google Maps are getting utilized, obviously the people in Google will directly not provide the access to the mainframe informations, right? So they again have API calls in between that. So when Ola the Ola, I'll say application, when it requires that sort of requirements, or basically it requires the information of maps and it wants to leverage the Google Map, then what happens is that it the request comes to Google via an API application, and if the request is again, it's legitimate, it's checked behind the scenes within couple of seconds, and then what Google does is that it provides the response to the API that okay, it's fine, and then the API gives the response in terms of the map that you are able to view on your Ola application, right? While you are on the ride. So that's a small gist about API. There are several videos upon API as well that you can go through. I'll try to create another dedicated video on API, but for the timing, whatever I told right now is basic sort of thing, and it's enough to work around with whatever we'll do today. So keeping the API part aside, we'll talk about Colab. We'll talk about Hugging Face. So Hugging Face is basically a model repository, sort of a hub. You can say it's a model hub where all the models are there. You can easily read across the models, and at the same time you can write the models and then upload your models as well. So again, there are several models over there. Without wasting any further time, I'll again show you Hugging Face right now. Uh, Basically how it looks and what's the Hugging Face application all about. So you can see over here that the Hugging Face application is there. On the models part, you can see there are different models basically which talks about Hugging Face. So you name it, all the models are there. Whatever are present in the open source applications, you will see that it's easily available in Hugging Face. So Minstrel is there. Then you can look at Flanty5 is there. We'll talk about Flanty5 and I'll show you a small demonstration using Flanty5. So you click on any model, you'll be able to read what that model is all about. All the information is there, the sort of MMLU scores and benchmarks, usage, installation process and everything. So we'll go through all this. We'll go through Flan T5. Okay. Before that, I'll also show you, like, depends upon the type of model you want. You can also sort of opt which model you are looking for. For example, let's say if I look for translation sort of a thing, let me see if it's there or not. Language translation, generation is there, text generation. Okay, let me see. Okay, there's some sort of a problem. Let me see if it's working or not. Yeah. So let's say it's text to text, or I want text classification sort of a thing. Then I can click on text classification. It will give me a list of models, which is for text classification. If we talk about Flan T5, if I write Flan T5, okay, you can see over here that there are different again models for the same. Flan T5. Let me write it like this. We'll talk about something which is the base of Flan T5. Let me see if the Flan T5 base is available or not. Large is there, base, multi-base. Let me see, wait. Again, Flan T5. Yeah, so you can see the base wala option over here. The base option, sorry to use again Hindi in between. So yeah, Flan T5 you can see over here. We'll look at Colab exactly. If you just go write it in Google Colab. Click on the first one, welcome to Colab. For the people who don't have Colab, you can easily get it done. You can just log in through your Gmail and you'll be able to access it. Open Google Colab with another sort of email ID. Let me see what to be done. Okay, so this is how the Colab uh, interface will look like. So Colab is similar to Jupyter Notebook, or Jupyter Notebook that we utilize in day-to-day life for coding and all. Um, so the capabilities are same. The only part is that when we talk about LLM models, it requires sometimes a lot of GPU and all that. When we talk about big models, we'll talk about Flan T5 base today, but still it's huge enough. You cannot directly run these models on your present CPU configurations if it does not have any sort of high level graphics and compute power. So for that we'll use Colab. I'll tell you the reason why. Over here in the Colab part, you'll see that there's an option of change runtime. You can click on it. There are different runtimes. When the CPU part is just for normal day-to-day codes, but when we talk about LLM models, these models are trained on heavy sets of informations. Sometimes when we talk about even foundation models or certain models in Hugging Face, which are like text to image or image to text, something like that, that requires very high computation power and you require good GPU for it. Obviously, we all cannot buy GPUs, heavy loaded GPUs, right? It requires lots and lots of money, and obviously, it's not possible. Yeah. So even I utilize this particular Google Colab itself. I use Pro right now because I am all the time trying to experiment something or the other, and I require uh, more compute power because I exhaust all mine if I use the free ones. Initially, I started using the free ones, so even if you are using free ones, it's fine. For the free versions, these three options will not be there: A100, L4, and TPU. But T4 GPU will be available to you guys, so you can use it very easily. And if you're able to buy a Collab Pro, then it's good to go as well. Depending upon your uh, own choices, you can do that. I'll choose TP. Let me cancel this first. Let's create another notebook. Okay. And when you talk about Hugging Face, first of all, have to log in as well. That's very important. So make sure that you log in. Again, you can just log in via your Gmail account. My profile name is Rushabh77. Yours can be anything else. Before I start with everything, I'll quickly go through what we will talk about today. So when we talk about Flan T5, this is the model that we can see over here, and you can go through that model. You can look through what are the model details. Click on it. All the information is there. Uh, These are a couple of codes. As and when we go through it, I'll talk about this as well. Okay. So beginning, you see everything is in place, and then you just follow the steps that I'm doing. So this is how you can use API calls in order to access the models on Colab, with on your own hard code. So it will be pretty interesting. Go through it. Click on settings. Go to your access tokens. So there are a couple of tokens which I had already created. Excuse me. I'll create a new token. Okay, once you create the token, you can write the name generative AI update or new one. Okay, name it like this. You can name it anything that you want. We'll read the different models. So obviously we'll only click on the right read access, not the right ones. So I click read. Okay, I clicked on it in a different manner. Click read billing as well. If you want to, then create token. Once you create token, it's very easily available in front of you. Just copy it and paste it on a notepad. Uh, okay, I have pasted it on the notepad itself. There are other keys as I mean, sort of tokens, access tokens that I've created. These are all secret, so make sure that you don't provide this information to anyone else because it can cause certain issues as well. So that's it. I'll click on done. I'll also select the name and save it on the notepad. Saved it. And what else is there? That's it, I think. Yeah, for the timing, yes, it is. Now let's go and create a new notebook, okay, from scratch. Let's do that. Once you create a new notebook, the Google Colab notebook will open. It'll take a couple of seconds to load. Once it's back online, yeah, it's there. So on the file part, what you will do is that first of all, you'll go to the secrets. The token that we had seen right now, right? We'll create a new secret token. The access token informations, we'll name it something. Let's say HF token 3. We name it this way, okay? And then we paste the token informations as well. So we have to first save it. Press right control save, it will save the informations. Okay. Then I click on this. This what When I click on this, it means that I provide access to this token for this particular notebook. Okay. Once we do this, just copy this particular code, this lines of code. What we'll do, what we will be doing today. Today we'll speak upon Hugging Face open sort of API calls, right? I'll delete this one. Let me do this. Okay, why is it not working? Yeah, it's working. Just a minute. Mm, 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 mm. Let me delete this one. It's not any use. Okay, so I'll write Hugging Face. Just a minute. API call for flan. Uh, Pardon my spelling error. T5. Okay, via Google. Okay, and we'll talk about the base model as well. So let me write base. Okay. Not to worry, I'll provide this notebooks, also this particular notebook, IPYNB file in the description as well. Let's paste the code. This is the code first of all. Just follow the steps and again it will be very easy to move ahead then. Hugging API, Hugging Face, token. Let's say this is the name. Okay. And that's it. And then in the secret name, what we'll do is that we'll just copy it down and paste it here. Okay. Before doing this, you can also click change the runtime and click on T4 GPU. Just click on save. That's it. Okay. I don't need high RAM because this particular model is not that huge, so I will not switch on that. Run this particular code. To run it, you can click on Shift Enter, or you can also go to runtime and run it one step at a time. There's an option over here. You can click it over here as well. Run cell, Control Enter. Okay. That's a shortcut, keyboard shortcut. So after this, let's see what was that particular uh, token. What is the information within it? Okay, I think okay, there was a wrong information. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, I had pasted the wrong information. Just let me copy it from my notebook. This is the name. Just a minute. So this is the code. Let me paste the value. Let's save it once again. I hope it's saved. If it is saved, let us rerun it once again. So that is why I run each and every token on every line of code, because sometimes we make such silly mistakes and can cause a lot of issues later on. So that's it. We have done this part. Now what we'll do is that we'll just write the model name as well, model ID. Okay. And then what we'll do is that we'll go back to the Hugging Face one. We were there on Flantify, right? Let me search that Flantify model once again. Flantify. Flantify it is. We'll use Flantify base today. I'll click on that. Once I click on it, this is the particular model ID. Just copy it and paste it over here in the model ID part. Run this particular piece of code, and then what we'll do is right now is that we'll take care of the inferencing part. Just a minute. And then the code. Let's delete this particular line and keep it clean. What we'll do is that we'll take care of inferencing. So what does inferencing mean? Inferencing, when we talk about inferencing, it is simply when you are sort of calling a particular model, okay, and you are utilizing that particular model uh, to conduct basically run it and make certain predictions out of it. That's what inferencing is all about, uh, in simple words. Okay. And let me do what to load the model and use it to conduct predictions. It's pretty simple till now. Okay. What we'll do now is that we'll go to a different sort of website. I'll show you what I'm trying to do now. I will again paste this particular website's link in the description. So again, it's a part within Hugging Face only. I don't want to go through the hustle and bustle of going through various tabs. That's why I just copied and saved it this particular website. Once you see this, this is the endpoint, or this is the particular URL that we'll be using very often now. Okay, I'll show you what needs to be done now. Just a minute, sorry. Yeah. So what I'll do, just to give me a minute, I'll just write base URL first of all. Okay, this is my base URL ID. Save it. I don't want this. Okay, so I'll keep it till here and just run it. It's of it doesn't I mean it's of no use right now, but the model URL will be useful. I'm just keeping this particular URL for your own reference in the notebook so that you don't find it difficult, okay, now to know more about it. Now what we'll do is that we'll control and paste the earlier URL, and instead of the model ID part, we'll just copy this model ID and we'll paste it along the way. Okay, we did this part, right? Now rerun it. Once we run it, it's good to go. Now, we have taken the base URL and the model URL. Now, what else is the process? What else do we need to do, right? You must be thinking. So, at this particular notebooks page, just take this particular piece of code, copy it down, and paste it here. Paste it here. So, what we'll do, we'll paste it. Okay. So don't panic. I'll explain each and every piece of code now. So when we talk about import request, so this is how we are requesting this particular package. And instead of the API URL, this API URL is nothing else but our model URL that we've already taken care of. So we'll just delete it. In terms of header part, you can um, run it beforehand. Okay. So instead of this API token part, what we'll do is that we'll take care of our token, what we had done. HF uh, or what I'll do is that I'll copy this one and let me paste it over here. Okay, just paste it and then try to rerun it. It's working, good to go, fine. And then what we'll do is that I'll import this particular package, then create a function where we will send the particular query that we want, instead of which inside which we want a response, right? And for the response part, we'll again utilize this API URL part. We'll just mention model URL instead of this particular thing, and then it's good to go. We don't have to make any other changes. I'll again remove this part and I'll make the code a little bit easier. What we'll do is that we'll write data question, uh, okay, sort of a thing, and then I'll create the question that I want to ask. Inputs. uh, okay, I made a silly mistake, just give me a minute, or let me do what I am changing. Okay, no. What sort of input do I need to give? Let me see what can I want to give. Translate what is your height in German. Example, I'm just giving this input, okay? And then what I'll do is that I'll run it. Once I run it, okay, before this I have to run this one. Let me rerun it. It's running pretty good. Okay, again, what else do I need to do over here? Let me just print the response as well. Before returning, let me do small thing, print response as well. Okay, response. Okay, let me rerun this particular code as well, and then just what you need to do is that you can either uh, what I'll do is that I'll save the output in the variable. Just write query bracket, bracket. We'll just mention the data question, this thing that we have just created, the input. Okay, we'll pass on the input in this particular function, and I'll explain you what exactly is happening. So let's do that. Let's see if it's working properly or not. It's working. Okay, it's not working properly. Let me see what is the issue. Okay, just let me check. HF token. Why is it not working? HF token 3. Okay, let me see if it's working or not. Okay, it's not working. Mm. Let me use the previous token that I've already created over here. I'll give access to this particular token and see exactly what's going on. Let me rerun the piece of code again. Mm, Let us see if it's working properly or not. It's working properly. Yes. Let us see if it's fetching us the output. Yeah. So when the response is 200, it means that your the server is able to authenticate the particular request, and it's able to give you on the API side, they are able to give you a response back whenever there is nothing, apart from anything around, apart from anything other than response 200. If you find anything else, then obviously there is some sort of a mistake and you have to rectify it. So I think there was some issue regarding the token, but I used another token that I had saved. So never mind. So we can see the response. Now let's see what is the output. Let me just paste the output. See what? Okay, it's written something in German. Okay, let me see. What is it? What is it? Sort of translating it into. Let's go to ChatGPT, one stop place to find out answers to anything. Go to try ChatGPT. I will not log in. I'll just ask uh, translate it into English. What is your height in German? Okay. As I wrote German, it showed Germany. Never mind. You understood, right? The sort of translation is happening. So that's a very big thing. And that's how simple you can, leverage this particular model, and you can just access it using API calls. So this was the easy part. Let me close this. You can also print the output. Let me see. Print output. What will be the answer? Okay, I have to call it via dictionary. Output 0 and dot get generated text. It's just giving me the answer now. Instead of reading this around generated text, if I just want to show the answer, then I can just um, write this code via dictionary, and we can just take in, or we will just take the answer or the value. Okay, the key and the value. So we'll use the key. We'll call the keys value, and we'll see that the value is shown over here. That's how easy it is. Now let's say if this is how we are running it on. Basically this is how we are um, leveraging this particular model, and we are able to perform certain actions on top of it utilizing API calls directly on the cloud where it is present. But let's say if you want to load this particular model on the GPU or the sort of GPU that we are using, that is on the Colab itself, and if you want to load that particular model, then what are the steps for it? I'll show you right now how to do it. It's basically like fine tuning the model. So when we talk about fine tuning, it's like you're taking a piece of code and then you're loading it onto your GPU, and then you are making some changes onto it. Basically, you are trying to take that bigger model and try to train it on a smaller set of data, which is niche, okay, which will enhance its capability. But right now, we'll not do all that thing. We'll just load the model on the GPU. So, but I'll still write. Um, just we are downloading the GPU. So to load the file in GPU. Okay, I'm just commenting on it. Not of any use. Just a minute. Let me paste it on a code. Just a minute. That's what we are doing. And for that, what we have to do is that we have to go to the Flan T5 model on Hugging Face. We just have to scroll down, and running the model on CPU. That's not possible. We don't have that level of CPU compute capability. So what we'll do, running the model on GPU. We'll run it on the Colab GPU itself. We'll just copy the code and then just paste it over here. Okay. Once you paste it, you'll see that piece of code. First of all, I'll just run it and show you the response. Over here, there's again a predefined input text which is already given. Translate the English to German. Okay. And how old are you? Over this, apart from this, what we'll do is that what is your height? Okay, we'll just write this part, what we were trying to search before. So let me take care of it. What's your height? Okay. I will run this piece of code. I'll explain exactly what this code means after that. Okay, see how fast it's able to load this particular model, this T5 base model, and it's all getting loaded on our GPU. If you're not using the T4 GPU, you'll not be able to run perfectly, but once you are running it, you will see that the utilization of RAM and the GPU power is increasing, right? Earlier it was there was a flat base, but all of a sudden it's now basically using more amount of compute, little bit only, because this Flynt T5 base model is a very small model. You can do the same thing for Gemma. It's quite large. I thought of keeping the video pretty short, but the steps are pretty similar. Okay, you just have to go to that particular Gemma file, Gemma model, and then for Gemma, another thing is that you have to access. Request for the access. It'll take another, I think, couple of minutes, and you'll get the access. Earlier, it used to take more than couple of hours, but now I don't find it that difficult. You'll get the access pretty soon. I'll show you at the end how to get access for that as well. But this is how the code gets loaded, and let me print the response separately. So see the response. Was it their height? What is this? This is the conversion from sort of German to English. Let me see what is the response to this. Translate into English. What is your height? Okay, probably height. It's not able to find the right term of height in German. That's the reason it gave height itself. But um, if we rerun this, asking how tall are you, probably it will give us the answer. Or what's your name? Let's rerun this as well. Mm, I think I have to rerun the entire model once. Just a minute. Sometimes that happens. Let us rerun. It will be fast only. Okay, it's not able to make the response. Okay, let me make the changes which was there before. Let us rerun this. Hmm. It's able to give me a response. Okay, you understood, right? Exactly how to do it. Sometimes during the computations or during the API calls, small errors does occur, but that's where we have to fine tune the model and learn more about it. But you understood, right? The gist of what exactly it's all about. This particular package, when we talk about accelerate, let's just go through cheap ChatGPT and you'll be able to learn about everything. Even if you write pip accelerate, you'll get the notebook. Pip py accelerate talks about everything. But nowadays you can just go to ChatGPT, but you have to obviously uh, cross check whether the answer is right or not. It's like pip install accelerate is used to install accelerate package in Python. The package provides optimized linear algebra operations and numerical computations on CPU and GPU. Okay, that's what it is for. And then the rest of the code, let's just ask ChatGPT to describe the code. Okay, we'll do it very easily from now on. So first of all, we'll take this, like, from transformers, this particular package, we'll import couple of functions out of it. See what it talks about the same thing. So okay, it will explain everything. Okay, I'll just ask in a different manner. Just wait. Explain the just a minute. Above code in simple words. Once I write this, it will give me every single detail about this particular line of code. So when we talk about transformers, you can see that it's a library provided by Hugging Face, and out of this, it imports T5 tokenizer for tokenizing the text, which is converting the text to tokens, okay? And T5 for conditional generation, that is, it is using the T5 model. Flynt T5 model, that's what it's doing. It's doing conditional generation task like translation. For that translation work itself, when you talk about Flynt T5, you'll see that it's for translation. Let me show it to you right now. It won't take too much of time. Yeah, over here, model description. See, model type, language model. It's like a language translation model, and it's able to translate back and forth in between this many languages. The Flynt T5 base is a very small model. There is something called Flynt T5 large XL as well. So obviously their capabilities are wider and they are trained on more number of languages. So you can experiment around with it. But you understood the gist of what I'm trying to explain, right? So that's what again is getting explained in the this particular code lines of code as well. When you talk about so yeah, where we were here, it was. So over here, after you sort of import the packages, what will happen is that you will now from transformers part, basically it will import the necessary classes from transformer sort of a library, and it will import the T5 tokenizer and T5 for conditional generation, this thing. Okay, tokenizer, as I told you, is for converting the text to the token part. Now you are initializing the tokenizers. First of all, you'll pre-train it. The line of code is there on the model itself. It's just because of your own understanding, and if you want to know more about it in depth, then you can go through it. It'll give you a better clarity of what's going on. Okay. Over here in the tokenizer part, we'll initialize the tokenizer using T5 tokenizer pre-trained on the Google Slant T5 model. And this particular tokenizer, as I am telling you repeatedly, is that it's used to convert the text to the token. Okay, because whenever we talk about LLM models, it covers everything. It understands everything in the form of natural language processing, right? NLP sort of thing. So over there in NLP, whatever sort of information you want to provide, you can just convert the text into token. It analyzes everything in terms of token. So that's what it is doing over here also, and tokenizer function does that. I mean, tokenizer does it basically. We'll store the particular answer or the function's capability is the in the variable tokenizer, and then there's a part called as model T5 for conditional generation. So we'll use that as well. Okay. Apart from that, that's it. And then in the input part, we'll provide the input, what we want to do, translate English to German, what is your height, this is our requirement, and that's what it will do. We saw the response, right? And then in terms of tokenizing and improving and moving to the GPU part, that's why we are providing this particular code. So what it does is that I mean, the tokenizer is used for tokenize the input text, basically is there to convert it the token IDs into the translated part, whatever sort of suitable language we want to do. And for the inputting it into the model only, we are using the input IDs, this particular piece of code. And when we write return tensors PT, it means that in terms of PyTorch. Okay. So the tokenizer should be return PyTorch and tensors, and .2 CUDA means that moves the input IDs tensor to the GPU for faster processing and processing if a CORDA, that is compatible GPU, is available. Okay, that's what is happening. Let's not go into the nitty-gritties of it, but you understood, right, what is happening over here now. So the output part, the model generates out. For first of all, we use the model.generate. What we do is over here is that this particular model, we just push this input ID into it, and it simply is able to respond back. So in this variable, we are using this particular variable model.generate, then we are generating certain outputs out of it. We are feeding the input, and then we are fetching the output here in tokenizer.decode output. That's it, guys. I hope it was fruitful. There's nothing else. You can also go through other models. There are several models over here. Uh, Go through them, try it out. There are certain models like Llama and all that, you will need access for it, and you'll get it in couple of hours. Max to max, if there are certain models, it might take a day. But for Gemma and all that, in couple of minutes you'll get the access. So I had used Gemma as well. I'll just show you quickly what Gemma is all about. Gemma 7b or 2b is also there. Number of parameters are different. I can use 7b for example, and then you will see that I have been granted access. Over here there are certain gated models. Okay, I have been granted access to it. In case you are not, over here it will show that grant access or I mean request access. Click on it, and after some couple of minutes, I think 10 or 10-15 minutes, it will appear on your screen, and this particular line will be shown. Now just follow the same steps what I did for Flynt T5, and you'll be able to run Google this particular Gemma's model as well very easily. And it's a 7 billion parameter model, so it won't take too much of time, but the compute resource utilization will be more. So in case you see that there is sort of crashings in terms of while you're running the code, the code is not absolutely running fluently, and there is frequent crashes, then don't use this particular model, or use T4 GPU, or you go for sort of Colab Pro. That's it. I hope this session was pretty interesting and you got to learn something. That's it from my side, guys. Till next time, keep reimagining data with AI, and keep on liking the video, and do comment your doubts or how you felt about this particular video in the comment section. At the same time, do share it with your family and friends who might be finding it useful, right? That's all. Thank you, guys.